I have been thwarted by Meta, who it's so ironic. I love the levels of irony in this campaign about running Meta ads to Kickstarter campaigns and the various ways these two giant companies continue to thwart me. But Meta has rolled out a new feature on lives called Practice Lives, and it's a little bit glitchy. So I wasn't even doing a practice live, but there's a bug with the screen share. So I actually already gave you this mini lesson yesterday. It was 22 minutes and it was glorious, and it was eaten by Meta and no one ever got to see it. So I'm taking a little bit of extra time to just ensure that I am in fact live, that people can see me and hear me, and that this video will continue to exist, because if I have to give this lesson a third time, I may lose it. So if you're here and can see me, please like just leave a comment or a react or just something. And when I post the replay, I will trim the video to take off all this awkward posturing. But I really need somebody to just do me a solid and drop a comment so I can proceed into the Kickstarter secret bonus mini lesson number 2, which is the advertising settings tab, which is the main place you want to go to train your account at the ad, or sorry, you want to train your account at the account level, which will affect everything inside the account. So it's kind of like, I always describe the tabs as Russian nesting dolls. And I say that the ads are the little doll, and they're inside the medium doll, which is the ad set, which is inside the big doll, which is the campaign. Well, now we have a giant doll, which is the ad account, and that's what we're going to be diving into. I see hellos from Meg and Robin, so I'm going to get going and do this video for real. So thank you for being here, and congrats on your Kickstarter, which is doing really well right now, by the way, Meg. I'm glad you're here and that I can help. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my AI note taker, because Gemini is very, very helpful when it comes to transcribing things I say, and organizing them in a way that's more coherent than they came out of my mouth. So my new favorite thing is just to talk at the video and let it record me and organize for later. So this might appear in the course. And I will also include the notes as an attachment to the replay for people who prefer to learn by scanning content rather than listening and watching. So here we go. We are going to be looking at the advertising settings. So right now I'm in my Luna Rider campaign. That is my brand, with quirky, cozy fantasy. This is the one that I'm using to run a Kickstarter currently about the autistic gnome and the talking cheese. It's very weird. Anytime I train you, I'm going to be in one of my accounts that I own and have real numbers. Nothing is hidden or filtered out to make me look good. Some of the stuff will make me look bad, but that's how we learn. And a really important part with this course is there's been a lot of challenges with the Kickstarter strike, which is now ended, with the government strike, which is what I'm calling it, which has not ended, and a number of challenges with today. The cloud server was out, which took out part of the internet. There's just nonstop curveballs coming. And I don't know baseball well enough to make a good metaphor, but like, I have a great batting average, whatever that might be, but it's not 100%. So I like to teach from both my wins and my losses, and to show how I recover from those losses, because I think that's where the best lessons are. But anyways, that's not what today's mini lesson is about. This is one of the secret rewards for the Kickstarter. I have one more coming later this week on using post IDs to copy social proof from warm to cold audiences, so look for that later this week. But this lesson is about advertising settings. So I am navigating from my Luna Rider ads account. I'm going to hover over here, and it's advertising settings, which is right here for me because it's something I've been in recently. But the Facebook menu is gigantic. You might not see it right away. You might need to click all tools. And then is information overload. Lots of choices. I'm still here. Stay in the call. Keep recording me. Lots of choices. So if you don't see it right away, you can search for ADV, and advertising settings has come up. So I'm going to click on that. And I am going to be investing in video software like Loom or something for the course. If you have any great recommendations for your favorite screen share plus talking head combo, let me know. Otherwise, I will invest in Loom so we won't have this janky setup. But this is showing you that it's real and up to date, and we're here together and we're friends. And this is all bonus content, anyways. The main course will be a lot more polished. But back to advertising settings. You can see shortcuts because I've already set up everything in here. And I'm going to point out a couple of things that are going to help you both for Kickstarter ads and literally any other kind of ads. Even if you're doing traffic ads to Amazon, this will still be helpful. But it's especially helpful if you're running any type of direct sales ads like Kickstarter, Shopify, WooCommerce. This is like crucial stuff. So we'll just go straight in order. First, we have account controls. And if you click into here, you can see that you can set audience controls. And I have let it know that my business can only advertise in specific locations. So that sounds really harsh and official. I'm allowed to advertise wherever I want. But what I have done here is I've excluded certain locations. And it's not because I don't like these places or people, but these are the places where for my ads, I've seen the most bot accounts click and drive up costs with no conversions. So I've specifically excluded emerging markets, which is some of Asia, it's some of South America, and Africa, because I have actually let my ads run unfettered as part of the lessons for this course to see where the clicks would come from, and this is where they came from. So you can specifically exclude these settings. Now, you might think you don't need to do that if you're only advertising to the US and or UK, Australia, Canada, but with Meta's new Andromeda algorithm, it does geo-expand. So even if you say you're only advertising to the US, you might still get clicks outside of the US. So setting up these audience controls is very helpful. And the way I like to do it is I like to hit browse, and then you can go by region. So that's where I found emerging markets. And then I did countries, and I selected all for Africa. But like, you can get pretty granular here. You could exclude everything except for the major English-speaking countries if you're not doing any translated material. But I find this is really helpful to make sure you're getting good clicks. We also have my business advertises age-restricted goods or services. Again, this is not technically true, but it's still a good thing to toggle on. I don't want a 16-year-old to get really excited about my book and steal their parents' credit card. I don't know what that 16-year-old would be doing on Facebook. Maybe they're on Instagram. But I want to advertise to people who can, legally use Tinder to buy my books online. And you can go all the way up to 25 if you want. So then under placement controls, this right now is not working because Meta likes to do this, but under here you can specifically exclude certain placements. There's only a couple you can toggle here. It's not everything, because I would love the option to just be like, you know what? No to threads. Never turn on threads. Let's not do that. This is some audience network placements that you can opt out of on an account level. The fact it's glitching now means that possibly this is going away or changing somehow. So it's just something to look at. Maybe when you get into your advertising settings, it will work for you. Next up, we have value rules. This is not something I'm using. I will investigate it more, but I generally like to be in my ad account every day and making decisions on my own rather than letting them automate and run the risk of scaling up a bad ad or turning off a good ad. I think this will get more and more powerful as Andromeda has more time to really dial in, but right now it's something I'm opting out of. Meta verified. So for my personal profile, Melissa Rayner, you'll notice it is verified. That is my legal name. And the reason I've done that is because it differs from my persona, and I engage in the author community under both names. And part of the reason is Facebook will, if you're running ads of any type, will ask you to verify your account 6 million times. I swear, whenever you want to add somebody or add a page or set up a pixel, you have to verify 6 different ways. And it's just easier and safer to do if you're doing ads under your legal name. So I have 2 S corporations. I have multiple doing business as for my pen names. And still the safest route is for me to use my legal name that matches my driver's license. It ensures that I'm not going to lose my account. and ensures that things aren't going to be shut down and I'll lose access to Ads Manager. So because I have a services-based business with novel publicity and nonfiction content, that is why I've chosen to verify my legal name. I think for fiction authors, it's not really a thing you need to worry about in terms of paying for the badge. I think I pay $17 a month to be verified. And that's just so that I don't look like a scammer and people can't deep fake me or something. Under here, we have creative features. This is one I think a lot of authors get excited about when they learn it exists because they want to opt out of it. You can see the default is test new creative features on, and then right now it's being buggy. Here we go. So here are 16 different tests they're running of new Advantage Plus optimizations on the ads level. Visual try on, that's interesting. Like you can put the clothes and product on the user. So they're doing some big stuff. Review keywords. There's all kinds of stuff, and I've decided to opt out on this level because the tests are the features they're not sure about yet. Now this is something, as I have more time to manage my own ads, reducing my client load, that I'll probably play around with to know what's coming and what has potential for authors. But for now, I opt out all the way at this tab. You will still have Advantage Plus creative features on your account level on the when you're setting up an ad that you can toggle on or off. But this puts fewer on, because what will happen is if you have opted in to the creative test on the advertising settings level, is anytime they make a new one, and right now they have 16, they'll just automatically add it to all your ads. Most authors don't like that because a lot of them will mess with your image and text, and you don't want your book cover changed. You don't want your prose changed. So I recommend opting out here. Know that this will not save you. This will create fewer headaches, but there will still be headaches. Right now, my big thing is fighting with site links and a few other settings that even if you switch them off, Meta will be like, no, we really want this on. We're turning it back on. No, we're gonna change your text. Sorry, you told us not to, but we're gonna do it anyways. So just know that even if you toggle off testing new creative features, you're still going to have to keep your eye on your account regularly for Advantage Plus. Even if you said, don't turn this on, they might turn this on. So this is something I scan across all my accounts at least a couple times a week in case anything snuck on. And Site Links is the one that they turn on the most, as well as Site Links' little brother or sister. I think it's a little brother. I had little brothers. Site Links' little brother, website highlights. Both of those can just tank ads, especially if you don't own the site. So on Kickstarter, a lot of times they want to link to categories, or they want to link to the homepage or other campaigns, which I'm paying for that ad, I'm paying for that click, and it's going somewhere else. We don't want that. So just keep an eye on the creative features here, and then on the account level inside as well. Next, this is very important if you run direct sales. We have audience segments. And under audience segments, we have two different types of audience. One is your existing customers, and one is your engaged audience. And I want to make something clear here for authors. Your newsletter is not your customers. Your existing customers are if you've previously run a Kickstarter and you have the backer sheet with here's the name, email, and how much they pledged with add-ons total. And from Shopify, if you export your customer history, it will say so-and-so customer spent $900 total. And when you upload it, you can say, I want to have a lifetime value, and then you say which column is the money. And that allows them to weight the customers, because there's a big difference between a customer who spends $1 and $1,000. So this is really crucial. You can see in my Luna campaign that I have multiples. So for existing customers, I have both of my previous Kickstarters, and then I have pixel activity. So I have people who are backing now, the cheese campaign, they're automatically brought into this. And then I have people also, even though I'm not currently running ads to my Shopify store, I do have a pixel audience that will automatically put them in here. What I'm missing is my Shopify customer history because I'm just getting started, so it's not very big. So right now the pixel is covering it totally. But later I'll update it with the lifetime value of the customer so that the people spending the most are weighted the most heavily. So this kind of enables Facebook to create lookalike audiences for you without you having to do it. And this is really powerful because it informs anything inside the account. That's why I've been advising authors to have a different ad account for each genre they write. So if you would separate it for the Amazon algorithm, like you write both, say, reverse harem and cozy mystery, which for a while I did write both of those things, but under different pen names because my Molly Fitz readers would be very upset. I'm not going to make a joke that I have to censor. So, but you can use your imagination and try to think of what joke I was about to make. It was a double entendre about cats, but I would not want to upset my Molly Fitz readers with reverse harem content. But if I'm learning at the ad account level and using the same ad account, there would be crossover. And yes, some people might cross over. Clearly, I cross over, but mostly you want to keep it kind of pure. So again, if you don't want those also bots showing up on Amazon, you don't really want to train the account that those things are related for you. Then under engaged audience, this is where you're going to put your newsletter. And then I have a pixel event for people signing up for my newsletter through my lead ads. So Meta's going to consider this audience on the account level as well. They're going to consider it for lead style campaigns, traffic style campaigns, but they're not going to be weighted as heavily as confirmed customers with a value attached. So that's a big pivot you can make to help out your account, especially if you're doing Shopify and Kickstarter. Here under verification and ad transparency, if you're running any ads to Europe, it's going to show your business and or legal name. So your choice. If you have a business, add it to Facebook, get it verified, and it will show that business's name instead of your legal name. That can be a big headache for some authors who would prefer to keep their legal identity separate from their pen name. So if you don't already have a corporation, LLC, or sole proprietorship, they're fairly easy to set up. They are a headache, but not a lot of money, not a lot of paperwork. If you just set up a sole proprietorship or limited liability company, that can shield your identity, especially if you want to be advertising in Europe. It is required. And then we have the next one I use is Datasets and Pixels. And so this is bringing in all my pixels that are attached to the Lunarider ad account. So you can see I have one that's for my website. I have one that's for my fantasy Kickstarter, so the cheese is attached to that. Previous fantasy campaigns have been attached to that. And we have my Shopify store. We have a tarot campaign on Kickstarter because that is Lunarider, but it's a very different audience, so I've added some separation. The ads Kickstarter I initially made inside Lunarider, but I'm advertising in a different account because I set that pixel up before Andromeda kind of forced separation. So here's an example of me taking my own advice about different accounts. Initially, I was doing all my Kickstarter ads inside Luna, and I have since created a unique account for the author services, and that pixel is being shared over there, and it's not affecting my Luna account. And then Teaching Pixel is one I set up for a tutorial for you guys that I don't actually use. Those are the main points. You don't really need this other stuff. If you want it to auto name things for you, you can set that up. Again, I like to have more control. Also for social information, I think this is great. I believe it's toggled on by default, but just check because it will combine likes and reactions for similar ads, which is great because you get more social proof. Like who wouldn't want that? And that's the advertising setting tab. So go find it. I showed you how to get it in the side menu here. Head over here. And the main areas you want to focus on are account controls, restricting locations where you get a lot of bots. For me, that's emerging markets in Africa right now. It might be different for you. You're also going to want to toggle off creative features. Knowing that won't fully protect you from Advantage Plus, but it will lessen how much you have to go and manually change things in your account. You're going to want to set audience segments with your customer files from Shopify, Kickstarter, and the like, your newsletter, and any live update pixel audiences. If you're running ads to EU, you're going to need the ad transparency section, and your pixels should already automatically be showing up here. If you are running ads to Kickstarter or Shopify, like you 100% need a pixel. So if it's showing 0, you have a problem. And there will be different lessons on that. And indeed, you can search my group for the replay of how to set up the Pixel 4 Kickstarter. But that is it for this mini lesson. I hope it was good since I've given it twice. It means I practiced since I did it the whole time. The first time when it didn't record, and I feel like I'm always not as on when I've practiced my content. I like to riff and improv. So I was a little bit more nervous because this is my second take, but hopefully the information was good. And if you have questions, I would love you to post them on the update that I'm about to post for backers with the replay video and the transcript. I would love to see your comments there. I'm going to turn off commenting for the group just because I really want to get people over to that Kickstarter. It helps me. If this has helped you or any of my content has helped you, it really helps me if you comment on the Kickstarter and back it and share it, because that trains the Kickstarter algorithm, which is part of the course. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll come over to Kickstarter and tell me so. And I'm also happy to answer any questions there.